Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. Hello and welcome back to Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. You would have seen the first episode of the Best 17 series kick off yesterday. That's going to be going on for the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, and the 11th of February. Now, in between those, I thought that I'd chuck in this rookie series as well, just to keep content coming out consistently every single day. And I thought a lot of other people are doing it as well, but I thought I'd go to that next level. Now, people are pretty much naming one rookie per club, or just some of the rookies from the competition that they think are going to be doing a good job this season, I should say. But I've gone ahead and I've picked about 4 or 5, at the most 6 rookies per team that we're going to be going through over a 6-part series. Just like the Best 17 series, it's going to be split up into different sections. For this one, it's going to be in a little bit of a different order. Obviously, since the Best 17 series is in reverse order from the ladder, obviously going from 17th to 1st. This is in alphabetical order. So we're going to be doing the Tigers, the Warriors, and the Gold Coast Titans in reverse alphabetical order, obviously. So this part's going to go through the Tigers, the Warriors, and the Gold Coast Titans. The next part after this one's going to be the Storm, Sharks, and Seagulls, then Roosters, Raiders, Rabbitohs, and so on and so forth. So we've got a lot of content in terms of rookies, a lot of rookies to name as well, actually. If you think about it, 6 rookies per team, 4 to 6 rookies per team, times 17 teams. That is a fuckload of rookies. Now, I was never really good at math, but I'll tell you what, that is a lot of rookies that we are going to be talking about today. So cannot wait to get stuck right in, and we're about to do so as well. So the first club we're going to be talking about is the West Tigers. 4 main rookies that I want you to watch out for this season for the West Tigers. Now, the first one is Samuela Fainu. Samuela Fainu is a front row back rower. Obviously came over from the Manly Seagulls with his younger brother, or younger or older brother. I'm not too sure what the order is, but with his brother Latu Fainu. Obviously, from the Manly Seagulls, they've come over to get a crack at first grade at the West Tigers. I'm really excited about Latu Fainu as well. Has so much ability and really, really solid half. Samuela Fainu, though, is someone that I'm going to be watching as well. I think that he might have a little bit more of a chance to make this first grade starting 17 straight away, just because of the fact that he is a forward and he will, fit into this rotation a little bit easier than what Latu Fainu is going to, if that makes a little bit of sense. But Samuela Fainu, front row, back row, I don't think he's going to get a starting spot, but I think that he is a big chance of being in this 17. So Samuela Fainu, really excited to see how he does go in this team, but definitely one to watch. Latu Fainu, his brother, really solid half, as we said, did a great job in that under-19s Origin game last year, I should say. Still feels like 2023 for some reason, but last year was a real game changer in that under-19s Origin game, and he has been killing it for the Manly Seagulls in reserve grade. He finally gets a crack at first grade potentially, maybe a bit later in the season, but definitely gets a crack at some stage in 2024. He is someone that I'm really going to be looking forward to watching, Latu Fainu. He is a half 5'8". If he does come in this season, and if he does come in early and gets the first crack, which I think is a little bit unlikely, I think that it's going to be Aiden Caesar and Jaden Sullivan, because they do have the NRL experience. But if Latu Fainu does get a crack straight away, you can see him playing in that number 6 jersey. I don't think he's going to be the 7. I think he'll be the 6. And I think that's where he comes into this side a little bit later on in the season, or maybe going into next year. But he'll definitely get a crack in first grade this season for me. He has to be there in the 14 jersey at least by the end of the season, if not midway through the season, maybe just after Origin or during that Origin period. Now, another guy that really isn't a rookie, but has only just come to this West Tigers team, has only just come to this code as well, this competition, the NRL, from Rugby Union. Solomon Alaimalo. He is a winger from Rugby Union, a really solid one too. I think he came over from the Crusaders, who are doing quite well for themselves in Rugby Union at the moment. Over the past few seasons, the Crusaders have been one of the top teams. But he is a winger, absolutely massive. Some say the size of Dom Young, obviously at the Roosters at the moment. But Solomon Alaimalo is definitely one to watch. A lot of power and speed for the big man as well. He's definitely going to be someone pushing for a first grade spot, particularly after the departure of a David Nofaluma. He's definitely going to be looking for a spot in this side, battling it out with guys like Charlie Staines, Josh Folletti, some of these younger guys in this team. He's definitely going to be someone that's going to be battling out for a spot. Solomon Alaimalo, remember the name. There's a few Solomons in that squad. I think there's about 3 Solomons in that squad. There's a Solomon, there's a Solomone, and there's a Solomona. So it's going to be hard to, I guess, remember this guy's name, considering there are 3 Solomons in this squad. But he's the one and only Solomon that you need to worry about for me going into next year, that I think is a real shot at getting into the first grade side. Really talented and had a really good stint over in Rugby Union. Now in the peak of his powers, 28 years old. Just coming over from Rugby Union, fresh into Rugby League. He might start out in New South Wales Cup, but I think that, throughout the season, if there's injuries or if they want to change up the side a bit, Benji wants to go for a new look midway through the season. Solomon could be one of the guys that you see in the 17 throughout next year. Now, Talon De Silva is another guy that we're going to be talking about as well. Dummy half. I think that he is a smoky for that 14 jersey. You've obviously got Simpkin there as well, who is, or has always been pushing for that 14 jersey. But I feel like Talon De Silva is a guy that is going to be pushing there as well. 2005 baby, just like myself. Really solid footballer with a lot of upside to him. I think we haven't really seen the peak of his powers just yet. Sorry, because he is so fresh. But Talon De Silva, for me, is someone that I'm very excited about. I think is definitely going to get a push in first grade in that 14 role. Reducing Api Coruscant's minutes week by week, because you don't want an 80-minute hooker. And I think that, the competition is leaning away from the 80-minute hooker, as we've spoken about a few times, and a lot of times really on the podcast. We've spoken about it at length that the 80-minute hooker just doesn't work anymore. Talon De Silva is going to be in that 14 jersey for me, either him or Simpkin in that 14 jersey. Now, a guy that isn't on the list, but I'll give a little bit of a quick mention to, also an 05 baby, Lachlan Galvin. He's a halfback over there at the West Tigers at the moment that is killing it. And from what I've been hearing, is a shot at the number 6 jersey. Now, obviously, the battle for me is between, going into this season, Jaden Sullivan, Aiden Caesar, Latu Fainu, and Lachlan Galvin for the half spots. Those 4 guys going to be looking for 5'8" and halfback spots throughout this season. Now, I could see Aiden Caesar being there at 7. I could also see him in a mentoring role. But I'm more worried about these younger guys, Latu Fainu, Jaden Sullivan, and Lachlan Galvin. It's a great problem to have, but it is still a problem because you got to fit all of these guys in somewhere, or at least 2 of them in somewhere. Jaden Sullivan has played a 14 role coming off the bench at St. George as well, playing a little bit of hooker. But we know that he has a lot of potential in that number 7 jersey. And particularly when you got a guy like Jerome Luai coming in next year, you definitely want a guy that can play a 7 to a high click, and he has been doing that for a while in New South Wales Cup especially, but he has a few times in first grade. Jaden Sullivan, Latu Fainu with not a lick of first grade, and Lachlan Galvin without a lick of first grade as well. But from what I'm hearing is a real shot at that number 6 jersey to start out the year. So definitely one to watch, Lachlan Galvin. Can't believe I left him out of this list, but that's 5 players that you've got to watch, or at least keep a keen eye on over some of the other rookies in this side. Absolutely stacked with rookies at the moment, the West Tigers, but there's 5 that you really need to watch. Lachlan Galvin, Samuel Fainu, Latu Fainu, Solomon Alaimalo, and Talon De Silva. Remember those names. Now we move on to the Warriors, who we've got 3 rookies here that you really need to watch out for. The first one is Tom Ale, a really mobile front rower. Something that they need in this side post Addin Fanua-Blake. They need a mobile forward. And Tom Ale is going to be that guy. He's someone that by the end of the year, or at least going into next year, will probably be the most likely to take the first grade spot from Addin Fanua-Blake, who obviously leaves to go to the Cronulla Sharks next season. Tom Ale, Really, really solid front rower. We've seen a few bits and pieces of him, but we haven't really seen a full lick of him yet. We haven't seen him at his best, and I'm keen to see if we get to see that for the Warriors going into this upcoming season. Tom Alley, really, really solid footballer, really solid front rower, mobile, great agility and leg speed. He's definitely someone that I'll be watching for the Warriors this upcoming season and going into the trials as well. Kalani Goying is another guy that you got to watch out for, a 13, who has been playing really well in New South Wales Cup last year. Obviously, the inaugural year for the Warriors in New South Wales Cup as well, or I think the second year, maybe the first or second year for the Warriors in New South Wales Cup. But he's been killing it, Kalani Goying, and has been a guy there's been a lot of noise around to get into first grade. I think he makes his debut back row lock forward. I think that he makes his debut at some point in 2024. There's a bench spot for him in this side. He just needs to go ahead and grab it, and he's going to be someone that is definitely going to be playing in the trials. Kalani Goying, back rower, lock forward, definitely someone to watch, and I'll be high on him throughout the entire year to get a spot in the 17. Initially, when I put out my predicted 17s as well, he was in there. Obviously, a few factors changed that, but he's definitely someone that I'll be watching going into next year. Very versatile on the forwards and a great asset to have in your 17. Now, Patrick Moimoi is a centre that has only just been upgraded to the top 30 squad. If there's injuries, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck only just coming back into the NRL from rugby union. On the older side as well, getting into the peak of his powers, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Rocco Berry, the young guy, if these two get injured or if there's an injury on the wing somewhere, with Dallin Watene-Zelezniak or Marcelo Montoya, Patrick Moimoi can come in and play a role for you. Upgraded to the top 30 squad with Viliami Vaila going to the North Queensland Cowboys. Patrick Moimoi is someone that you do need to watch going into this year. Now, someone we didn't mention as well in this list, who again I cannot put together how I forgot him, is Tane Tuiapiiki. Really solid guy that came in a few times, can play 5'8" or fullback. Really solid there. I think that he is definitely someone that you need to watch. He had a few cracks in 2023 and looked solid in that fullback jersey. I think that he is a real schmokey to get that 14 too. Competing with guys like Chanel Harris-Tavita, Tamade Martin, who I don't have in my starting 13. He's on my bench if he's in the side. And that's obviously why I had to remove Kalani Goying from the bench, because I had to fit all of these guys in. And obviously giving a little bit away there from my 17, which could change by the time you hear it too. But Patrick Moimoi and Tane Tuiapiiki are two guys you got to watch that could fill in this back line if there's an injury there. But my Warriors guys to watch are Tane Tuiapiiki, Tom Alley, Kalani Goying, and Patrick Moimoi going into the 2024 season for the Warriors. And then finally, for the Gold Coast Titans, we've got 4 players here to watch. And trust me, there is not one guy that I've forgotten. I've gone real in depth into their top 30 and even into their development squad and picked out a few guys you must keep an eye on going into the 2024 season. The first one is Keenan Palasia, someone that I still consider a rookie. And I'm very keen to see his role in this team. It's either coming off the bench or it's starting with Tino moving into the lock forward role. Either way, he's a big minute forward with a lot of upside, great leg speed and agility, and a huge motor on him. As we said, he can play big minutes in your side, and I think that he is going to do a lot of damage for the Titans going into this season. Fresh from coming from the Brisbane Broncos, a side that was in the grand final only last year, only a few months ago. Going to have a heap of experience from being in that system, and a great guy to have in your squad as well. It just makes this forward pack all the more dangerous when you've got 3 guys who have rep potential. Keenan Palasia, Mo Fotuaika, and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. Really good forward rotation that Keenan is definitely going to be a part of. As I said, if it is starting or off the bench, he's going to be there. Alafiana Khan-Pereira on the wing, going into his second full year. I still consider him a rookie, still quite young, a lot of potential, very raw. I'd love to get a few errors out of his game, but I feel like he's going to have a big year next to Brian Kelly, respectfully. I think that he is definitely going to have a big year. Alafiana Khan Pereira, definitely one that I'm watching in his second year. Over the next 5 years, he's someone that I can see moving into the Origin arena, but still too fresh, still too raw for me. I'd love to see another full season of Alafiana Khan Pereira ripping and tearing, one of the fastest players in the competition. Tom Weaver is someone that I've been very high on. Personally, I think that he is one of the better halves in that Titans system. If Tanner Boyd doesn't have a good start, he's someone that could get the 7 for me in what is probably the hardest 2 debut games you could ever have in rugby league, going up against the Melbourne Storm and the Penrith Panthers in the first 2 weeks, the first 2 games, that you are in the NRL, and winning the first half of both of those games. It shows potential, and it shows that he fits into this side really well with Foran as his 6. Tom Weaver, the halfback that everyone is going on about in that Gold Coast Titans fan base, he is definitely someone that you need to watch going into this season because, as I said, Tanner Boyd's proven to be a really good 14. If he doesn't cut it at 7, he could easily go back into that role with Tom Weaver getting that number 7 spot. Yes, I am deadly serious. And then Klese Haas, the younger brother of Payne Haas from the Brisbane Broncos. He is a back rower at the moment. Back row, lock forward. I think a little bit too small. And look, I haven't seen him in real life, but watching him on the telly, just a little bit too small for me to be a front row lock forward. I feel like he suits that edge back row spot perfectly. I feel like he is someone that could come off the bench in this 2024 season for the Gold Coast Titans. Obviously, came off the bench quite a bit for them in 2023. I think he's going to be in and around the 17 yet again. And for a very young guy, has a lot of potential, great ball playing skills on an edge, and can move into center really if you need him to, if you're desperate, if there is an injury during the game, he can definitely move into that role. But Klese Haas is someone that I'll be watching in this Gold Coast Titans team. So for the Gold Coast Titans, we've got Keenan Palasia, Alafiana Khan Pereira, Tom Weaver, and Klese Haas. Now, make sure, if you haven't already, just to subscribe to the Big LEZ'S League YouTube. We are growing substantially on the Instagram. Over the past few days, we've had a number of guys coming on and following the page, which is amazing. I really appreciate you guys. Maybe come over and subscribe to the YouTube as well, because we're going to have a lot of content coming out on the YouTube, especially over the next few days to start your month of February. We've got this and the Best 17 series as well coming out for the first 15 days of Feb, which is absolutely amazing. So make sure you go and get stuck into all of that content. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Follow the podcast on Instagram if you don't already. Big LEZ'S League. TikTok as well. The TikTok has been growing quite a bit too. Only just started, but starting to grow a little bit day by day and getting some great viewing on some of the posts and reels that we've been doing for the Best 17 series on TikTok. But TikTok, go and follow that. Go and follow the Instagram. Go and subscribe to the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you guys in the next one where we go through the Melbourne Storm, the Cronulla Sharks, and the Manly Sea Eagles.